Good evening, everyone. My name is Kelly, and I will be the facilitator for this evening. I would like to welcome you to Dementia Friendly Association Northern Prince George's County webinar, Give Your Parents a Standing Ovation, presented by Dr. Gybrilla Ballard-Blake. She is the author of the book, Give Your Parents a Standing Ovation, for caregivers of elderly parents, and she is the writer and producer of the stage production of the same name, which is based on her book. Dr. Ballard-Blakes is a speaker for Alzheimer awareness rallies, a member of AARP's Brain Health Speakers Bureau, Alzheimer's Association, National Capital Chapter Committee member, and Dementia Friendly America as well. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping announcements. All attendees must stay muted during the presentation. If you have any questions, please use the chat box to type your answers or your questions, and we will take them in the order that they are received. This session will be recorded and uploaded on the DFA Northern Prince George's County, Maryland YouTube channel. You can find past webinar recordings included on that channel, and I will put the link to it in the chat. Following this evening's session, you will receive a satisfaction survey. Please take a few moments to respond. Your feedback is important to the DFA team. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Gybrilla Ballard-Blake.
I am Dr. Gybrilla Ballard-Blakes, and I am the author of the book, Give Your Parents a Standing Ovation. I had the honor of being the caregiver for my parents. And from that experience, and my research, I know how important it is to have as much information and resources on how to help you with your caregiving duties and to support you on your journey as a caregiver. When I was a caregiver, I didn't have any idea of what a caregiver was or what a caregiver duties entailed. I didn't even know really what I was doing. I just wanted to be the best caregiver I could, or support, not caregiver, but to support my parents in any way I could. Because I noticed that my parents at that time was losing a lot of their independence, and they needed my help. So so when my parents passed, I decided to do something to help other caregivers. So I became an advocate for seniors and caregivers. I also wanted to do something in honor of my parents. So I felt the best thing to do was to possibly write a book or do something that could add to the caregiver's knowledge base. My slides are not advancing.
You may have to click directly on the slides.
I did. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. Many people are faced with challenges of caring for their aging parents or loved ones. So the purpose of this book, Give Your Parents a Standing Ovation, was to explore some of the challenges of caring for aging parents or other people suffering with Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, while offering tips and solutions for caregivers. Some of the chapters from this book talk about how do you handle the role of when there's a role reversal, or the parents or you become the caregiver for the parents versus being the child and the parent caring for you. Some caregivers' challenges and how to deal with siblings and other family members can be kind of difficult. So I talk a lot about that in the book of how to do that. And also self-care, which is very important for caregivers. And why should you not feel guilty as a caregiver? And also why it is okay for a caregiver to ask for some help, and also why it's okay for caregivers to ask for help, and special resources for caregivers who are caring for parents who are having Alzheimer's or dementia conditions. And give your parents a standing ovation. I share some of the things that I did on my journey as a caregiver for my parents. Being a caregiver does not have to be stressful, or it is stressful, but it doesn't have to stress you out. And I talk about some things that will help you when you feel like you're being stressed or you need to take a minute. And if you are if you become a caregiver for your parents, you should always remember that even though you are the caregiver for your parents, you're still the parent's child. And that's something that I stress a lot, because a lot of people get that confused because they're the caregiver for the parent. They feel like now they can tell the parent what to do, or they can make all the choices for the parent and not allow them to make choices like they're a child. But no matter where you are on your journey as a caregiver, having a good framework to help guide you, both you and your loved ones, will make your process as a caregiver a lot easier. And this is why it's so important to get resources and have information, to get information. To act as a caregiver is one of the most important positions or titles that you can hold. At least it was for me. And that's because you're doing things for your loved one that they can no longer do for themselves. According to the current research, it would cost over $600 billion a year to pay for unpaid caregivers. Caregivers cost more than out-of-pocket spending than any other healthcare condition in the United States. Caregiving is not only costly, but it's challenging. It's really challenging. Caregiving for an aging parent presents a wide array of conditions, of challenges, but when you look at the benefit to the person you're caring for, those challenges can definitely you can definitely get through the challenges, especially if you know what they are and you have tips to support that. And in my book, I talk about challenges and what to do when you have challenges. Common challenges include managing some of their finances, maybe providing some assistance, addressing their communication barriers, and also balancing your own personal commitments and responsibilities, which is huge when you're a caregiver. Caregiving for a parent is very demanding, and it's a very demanding undertaking. By recognizing the challenges and seeking support, caregivers can definitely navigate through their journey and effectively manage or maintain their own well-being, which is very important, to manage your well-being along with the loved one and provide the loved one with the best care that you can, but also managing your own well-being. Some of the caregiving challenges are, of course, financial strains are that's a big one, because it's very costly to take care of a loved one, especially if you're dealing with long-term care, or possibly some medical expenses, or modifying a home. Sometimes you have to modify the home to support the patient or the parent that you're taking care of. It's also challenging because most caregivers are still working when they're caring for their parent or loved one. So they're still working. So sometimes they have to reduce their working hours, or sometimes it's because of the caregiving duties, they have to even quit their jobs, which is very, very hard sometimes on people financially, and it definitely can lead to an income loss, depending upon what the financial situations are. A lot of times, people who are caregivers, they tend not to want to share with their organizations that they're caring for their parent or loved one. So even though they're taking off, or maybe they're reducing their work hours, they're not really being open to the organization or their leadership as to why they're doing these things. And depending upon some jobs, they can lose their job because what's making it a little better now is now you have the family that it's kind of support caring for family members and any kind of family care that a person might have to do along with working. But it can cause great income loss. Difficult decisions. Oh my goodness. Caregivers may need to make some difficult decisions as far as their finances or their financial future to ensure the well-being of their parents. A lot of times, if you're caring for your parents, you have to maybe get a bigger house, or maybe move, or maybe pay for some of your parents' bills, or get a different car, like an SUV, if your parents have wheelchairs or other kind of health uh, things that you need to use for your parent. You might have to get a bigger vehicle. Physical limitations. As your parent age, they may experience some mobility issues, or they may even need you to assist them with their daily duties, as far as dressing them, feeding them. There's a lot of things that you might have to do to support them physically because they have physical limitations. And again, the house modification. You have to modify a home, make homes safer or more accessible to your aging parent. That's very costly. And sometimes caregivers are paying for that. Sometimes parents can do it themselves, or they're able to pay for their own modification. And sometimes a caregiver has to do that. But it's very costly. And there's also organizations and other other access to people to support you if you need to do things or get finances support for your parents. Or if you're modifying a home, there's some agencies that'll help with that, and they'll pay a lot of it, or sometimes they'll pay all of it. But if not, if it's coming out of your pocket or even coming from your parents' pocket, it's very costly. Medication management. Oftentimes, when you're a caregiver for an aging parent, you have to do medicine management. You have to ensure that your parents are taking their medicine, making sure they're taking their medicine on time and properly, especially if they have some kind of cognitive impairment. And oftentimes, when you're doing that, if your parent is taking medicine that's costly, once again, that's another cost that either you're paying or the parent is paying, but it's very costly. And sometimes parents, because of the cost of medicine, they don't want to. They don't buy the medicine. They don't want to pay for expensive medicine. So you have to make sure that if they're not able to pay, or they're not willing to pay, that you're either paying it or you're finding some other means of getting their medicine paid for, and they have access to whatever kind of medicine that they need. Meal preparations. That's another duty for our caregivers. When you have an aging parent, oftentimes you're preparing the meals, and some parents are very finicky and picky as to what they eat. Some parents are on restricted diets, so you have to make sure that they're eating appropriately, and you're managing, and you're making sure that they're eating in a timely fashion. And that can be kind of complicated, especially if you're still working. but you have to make sure that you are preparing, making sure that the meals are prepared, and that then your family, your parents or your elderly loved ones have access to whatever meals they need and food, because that's important for their well-being and for their health. And if they're unable to do it themselves, then you have to make sure that that's taken care of. And the book talk a lot about how to do that. This is a big one. When you talk about the emotional challenge, when there's a role reversal, oftentimes because now the parent is relying on the child for some their needs and their care, the child gets a little confused as to who's the parent. And a lot of parents, when you do that, a lot of parents they're very they'll shut down on you, and you have to make sure that you're conscious about what you're doing, and that you're making sure that you are providing for their needs. And you, again, you remember that they are the parent. You're not their parent, but your job is to provide for their needs and to make sure that they're getting everything that they need for their care. But even though the roles are reversed, you have to be very respectful to them and make sure that you're allowing them to have some say into what you're doing. Caregiving can also be a physical and emotional. It can be physically and emotionally exhausting, leading to stress and burnout and isolation, which can cause a lot of medical issues. This is one that can really cause a lot of medical issues, because if you're emotionally and physically and you're getting stressed, and even though it's very stressful, as I said in the beginning, although it's stressful, it doesn't have to stress you out. If you use some tools, and you know how to identify what the stressors are, you can do things to help yourself, and you don't have to get burned out. And you don't want to be isolated. That's something that you don't want to do. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. And you should also be open and honest. The communication should be open and honest when you're dealing with your parents, although that can be challenging sometimes, because sometimes there's things that you don't want to bother your parents with, or your parents are no longer able to make their own decisions. But sometimes if you don't, especially parents who are they're resistant to help, or they have cognitive impairments, sometimes they don't want you to make decisions for them. So you have to be open with them, and as long as they can make decisions on their own, allow them to do that, or include them in the decisions. So make sure that you keep the communications open as long as you can. And even if they have cognitive impairment, you have to make sure that we're communicating with them at all times, because that helps them their health, and that helps them last a little longer, and they may be able to communicate a lot longer if you're constantly communicating. But you have to be honest with them when it comes to their health, or maybe some of their finances, what's going on with their finances, or whatever that's dealing with them. You have to be, even though it's challenging, like I said, you have to be open with it. Parents may be reluctant to accept help or acknowledge limitations, making it difficult for caregivers to provide necessary care. Some parents feel as though they're a burden to you, and they don't, or some elderly folks, some family members. If you're taking care of them, they feel like they're a burden. So you have to know how to deal with it. The book talks about how to do that. It talks about how to make sure that if that person is a little reluctant, or they feel like they're a burden, that you kind of assure them that they're not, and that you want to be their caregiver. And whatever it takes, and be respectful, especially to everybody, but to your parents. You have to be respectful, because if you're not respectful, oftentimes most parents, they will shut down. And that will definitely make it difficult for you as a caregiver if the parents shut down on you and you're trying to either get something done or get them to do something. But you have to be respectful. And most parents, I know some parents are difficult, but oftentimes if you're respectful and you allow them to have some say in whatever is happening in their care, oftentimes they're more susceptible to allowing you to or saying yes to what you're trying to get them to do. Time control, balancing caregiving duties with work, family, because as I said, most people who are caregivers, they're still working, and your personal commitments can be overwhelming. You have to have a balance there, but you have to make sure, even though you need your time and you're working and you have your other personal commitments, you have to make sure that your family member or your parent is getting the appropriate care. And it's really a challenge if it's a sandwich generation family. That's where the caregiver is also caring for minor children, along with caring for their parents or an elderly loved one. That's very challenging to manage all of that and do the scheduling and all of that stuff and have some personal time for yourself. So the key is to make sure that you are you have a schedule and you get people to support you and you have a support system. Social isolation. This is critical because the demands of caregiving can limit a caregiver's social life and time for personal pursuits. And that's normal, but you can have a social life, but you need to have people to support you. You need to have people to help you, and that could be a family member, a friend, or you can have an organization help you. There's a lot of organizations out there that will help you, give you some respite, give you some time to have, some social time for yourself so you can take care of yourself, which you have to do, because if not, you will get burned out and you will not be as effective as you would be if you had some time to yourself or a social life. But you have to make sure that you have someone to take care of that loved one that you're the caregiver for. Managing medical appointments. This is what pretty much what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. If you're the caregiver, you have to manage. You have to do a lot of time management. So when you're managing medical appointments and coordinating care for yourself, the person you're caring for, and again, if you're in the sandwich generation type, you're managing yourself and your minor kids and the caregiver. So you have to make sure that you're addressing all the medical things and you're addressing health emergencies. They can also come up and that can make things even more complicated. Say if the person that you're caring for has to go in the hospital, that can throw that can really throw your schedules off. But you have to know how to do that. You have to. There's a lot of tools that you can use to support you in managing your caregiving duties. But medical appointments, as everything else, is very important. You have to make sure that you're doing those and you're ensuring that the person that you're caring for is attending all of their medical appointments. If not, then you're rescheduling and you're making sure that they're getting the proper medical care, and you yourself, as a caregiver, you're doing that as well. But that's a big challenge. Elderly parents may experience some loneliness. This is a big one too. When anyone, but an elderly parent that's experiencing loneliness and isolation, it oftentimes requires the caregiver to provide companionship and also social interaction. That's important because loneliness and isolation can cause a lot of medical problems and issues, and even can cause death. So you have to be very careful that with yourself and your loved one, that they're not feeling or they're not lonely or isolated. make sure that you're socializing, they're getting some socialization, and that they're not feeling alone, and you're making sure that you're interacting with them and you're having them interact with other people. And again, get some help. Have your family members help you, your neighbors, or as I said, other organizations. There's other ways that other people that can help you. Don't go through the caregiving duties and, and expect for yourself. Expect to do everything on your own. Have some people to help you. Get a group, get a network. Have people that's going to help you do a lot of your duties, to give you an opportunity for rest. Ensuring that your parents are safe if they're still trying to drive. That's a huge one as well. A lot of seniors, even though they can no longer drive, they still want to drive. What do you do in a case like that? That's a tough one. There's a lot of information about that. There's a lot of organizations that can talk to you about what you can do if you have an elderly parent who still wants to drive, but they're no longer able to drive. There's a lot of things, a lot of tricks that you can do. A lot of people say some things you can take a battery out of a car. You can also maybe take change the key on the keychain, or just find a way to ensure that your parent or your loved one, if they're not able to drive anymore, find a way to not have them get behind the wheel. But you don't want to make that into an argument. You don't want to make them feel like they're no longer able to do anything. So you want to find a way to do it without making them feel less than. Build support. You have to have support when you are a caregiver. When I was a caregiver, I did not have a support system. For one, as I said, I didn't know anything about all of the challenges and resources. I didn't know about any resources. There's a lot of resources out there, but you should also build a support system. Again, family, friends, and community. Some community resources to help you cope as a caregiver. Because if you don't have a support system, you will get burned out. You will get burned out, and it could cause a lot of medical issues, and it can even cause death. So get a support system, and make sure that you're having people help you do the caregiving. Prioritize your self-care. That's important. Just like they say on a plane, if you don't put your mask on first, you can't help other people. So if you're not taking care of yourself, it's very difficult for you to take care of other people. You have to have self-care. You have to engage in some kind of activity that you enjoy. You have to continue to do that. You cannot burn yourself out, because you have to maintain your well-being as well as the person that you're caring for. For one, if you burn yourself out or you get sick or something happens to you, who's going to take care of the person that you're caring for? Oftentimes, you're the only person that's caring for that person, or you're the only person that person wants to take care of them. So if something happens to you, what is going to happen to the person that you're caring for? So self-care is very important. Don't just take care of your loved one or your parent and not take care of yourself. Utilize all the resources. There's a lot out there. There's tons of resources out there. There's a ton of information in my book to help you manage the challenges of being a caregiver, including support groups. Join some support groups. Talk to other caregivers. Talk to a counselor. As they're saying now that all caregivers should actually get counseling. You should get counseling. Get some kind of counseling. Talk to some folks. Don't just try to go it alone. A lot of times you have questions that maybe you can't answer yourself. I know I did, but I didn't know where to go for an answer. Even my parents' medical doctors, they didn't have the answers that we have out here now, the resources. There's a ton of resources. Caregivers today should have everything they need right at their fingertips, because there's a lot of resources out there. take care of yourself, use your resources, and get some respite. Get respite care. In Prince George's County, they have a fantastic respite a program. Get in touch with the respite organization, and they even pay for some of the respite care. They pay for some of the for people to get a break. They pay for that. They have people come in and help you from time to time so that you can go out and do the things that you need to do. Sometimes you want to get out and maybe go get your hair done and your nails done, or just get out and just breathe the air, go to the park or something. So, but get your rest and seek professional help. Talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist. They're saying that all caregivers should do that. Or any expert, there's a lot of experts out there you can talk to that can provide you some guidance and support. Don't go alone. Don't go alone. It's too challenging. The challenges is too huge. It's too much going on. Doing it by yourself is not something that you have to do. If you do that, you choose to do it because there's so many people out there, and a lot of this stuff is free. So use it. Use your resources. And I talked a little bit about this, why it's so important to take care of yourself. You have to take care of yourself because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care effectively. You can't take care of the person you care. It's very important. And here's some statistics. 23% of Americans say that caregiving has made their health worse. If you would go back and read some of those studies, you'll probably see that person did not use resources. That person did not reach out. That person did not have anyone helping them. That person was doing things on their own. That person felt some signs or saw signs or felt that they were not feeling like themselves, but they pretty much ignored it. But their health started failing. 61% of family caregivers are also working, as I said. So a lot of people are working. So that's a big challenge when you're working and you're also a caregiver. I did it. It was rough. And if I had all the resources that they have out here today, it would have been a lot easier. That's why I can't stress enough. Use your resources. Use your resources because it's very stressful. A 1999 study shows that 63% our caregivers have a 63% higher mortality rate than non-caregivers. That there again is telling you have to take care of yourself and you have to get help. Don't go alone. Because this caregiving, I mean, as much as we love being caregivers, it can actually kill us if we don't do the right thing. If we don't take care of ourselves. So make sure that you are identifying some of the challenges and some of the signs and doing something about it. And that's probably why they're saying that all caregivers now, they think that they request or they hope that they get some kind of professional care. Talk to someone about what they're doing, how they're feeling. And as I said, a lot of times that's free. It's free, and especially if you're working. You can go through your job and get that. That's free. Also, according to a Stanford University study, 40% of Alzheimer's caregivers die from stress-related disorders before the patient dies. And that's because if a person has Alzheimer's or dementia, that's even more stress and more challenge. So you take care of yourself. Don't only take care of the person that you're caring for. Take care of yourself. As I said, if you don't take care of yourself, then what's going to happen to that person that you're caring for and you love if something were to happen to you? As a caregiver, you have a higher risk for health and emotional problems. And that's because of all the challenges and the stress that goes along with being a caregiver. And here's some of the signs. And this is from my book, my chapter 6, because I put the chapter there because this is so important that we know the signs. Know the signs. You might want to either write these down and make sure that you remember that when you start feeling this way, you need to get some help because you're either burning out or something is going on. So if you're losing interest in activities you used to enjoy, that could be a sign. It also could mean that you're not getting help and you're no longer able to do some of the things that you enjoy. So again, don't go it alone. Or you're gaining weight or losing weight. That could be a possible sign of stress, of caregiver stress or depression. Getting too much sleep or not getting enough sleep. Now, I don't hear a lot of people say that they get too much sleep as a caregiver, but that's one of the signs. Getting too much sleep, unless they're sleeping along with the person that they're caring for. Feeling tired off, and of course, there's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to be a caregiver. And definitely you're going to feel overwhelmed from time to time because you're juggling your responsibilities, your personal responsibilities, along with the responsibilities of the person you carry. Feeling worthless or guilty. A lot of times people feel guilty because they feel like that they should be doing more for the caregiver. Or if they're at work, because if they're still working and they're at work and their loved one is at home or wherever and they're not there, they feel guilty that they're not there with them. Definitely feeling anxious or sad. And sometimes we feel sad as caregivers because we're seeing our loved one declining. So that can make us sad as well, but that's still a sign. And the last one here, thoughts of death or suicide. If you are feeling death, or if you're thinking about death, or you're feeling suicide, get some help, call someone immediately. There's a number that we don't see a lot, but there's a 988 number that you can text or call. And if you're feeling like you're suicidal or you're thinking of death, or you want to just talk to them about your loved one, you can call that number. And that number is a number that you can call 24 hours a day. And unlike 911, there's someone's going to answer, and you're going to be able to talk to a counselor immediately. So if you're feeling suicidal or death, or feeling like you want to die, definitely get some help. Get some help immediately. These are actual caregiver success tips. These are tips that family caregivers should definitely consider and use. The first one is what I've been talking about the whole time. Choose to take charge of your life, and don't let your loved one's condition always take center stage. Sometimes you need to be center stage, but just when you have those times, just make sure that the person that you're caring for is being cared for. Make sure that they're being cared for when you feel that you need to take a break, but you do need to do that. And you definitely need to consider yourself, and you should be center stage sometimes as well, not just the person you care with. And remember to be good to yourself. That's taking care of yourself. Remember that the job that you're doing is a very hard job, and you deserve some quality time just for you. And that's, again, taking care of yourself. You definitely deserve it. And watch out for signs of depression. Some of the signs we talked about earlier. Don't delay in getting professional help when you need it. Matter of fact, talk to someone just because you're a caregiver. Because you may not even know that you're going through a depression or you're totally stressed until you sit down and talk with someone. And you can talk to a family member. You can talk to a friend. You can talk to your supervisor or coworker. But talk to someone. Don't just keep things in. If you feel like you need to talk to someone, because it could burn you out. And if people offer you help, a lot of people, when they're caregivers, they think that they're the only ones that can care for this person. And that could be a parent, a spouse, or just a loved one. Because they're the caregiver, they think they don't need anyone to help. Even though people offer them, they turn them down. Accept the offer. Not only accept the offer, suggest significant, significant things specific things that they can do. Tell them that what you like for them, what they can do for you. Tell them that they can come over and possibly wash, maybe do the laundry for you once a week. Maybe cook some meals. Maybe even pick your loved one up and take them out somewhere, just to give you a break. Or maybe you can set up a time where they can come and just sit in with the loved one while you go and do something that you like or that you enjoy. Make sure you let them know what you need them to do, because a lot of times when people are asking you, offering you to help you, they don't have a clue as to how they can help you and what you need. So we have to tell them. So tell them how they can help you, but don't turn it down, because you need that help. And yes, you might be the best person to take care of the loved one that you're taking care of, but you don't have to be the only person. Let someone else help you. Get a break, take a break, get some rest, and always educate yourself about your loved one condition. Because if you don't know what their medical conditions are, you can't effectively help them all the time. So you need to know that. So that means when you're scheduling some of those doctor's appointments, you need to be going to some of those doctor's appointments so you can talk to the doctor, find out what's going on, or possibly tell the doctor some of the things that you're observing. Sometimes your loved one, when they go see their doctors, even though they're declining or they're having some medical issues, they're not being honest to the doctor. If you're the caregiver, you can do that. You can go in and let the doctors know that you're seeing a change. So know the person that you love, the person that you're caring for, know what their medical conditions are, and be open to new technology and ideas to promote your loved one's independence. That can help you as well. There's so many things out there that the new technology that can help your loved one and also support you, because it might give you an opportunity to do other things, such as pill dispensers, fall detections. There's all the smartphones, the granny iPad. There's so many new technology things out there that can help your loved one be more independent and also support you. So be open to those things. If you can afford it, or if your loved one can afford it, get some of those things to support. GPS trackers, all kinds of bracelets and watches and stuff like that that can track them. They even have things that you can put on the bed, so you know it'll let you know if they're getting up, if they're getting out of the bed. There's a lot of new technology that can help you that they didn't have before, and they have new ones. Seems like all the time. Test your instinct. If you feel that something is not going right with your loved one, look into it. Most of the time, they'll lead you to or lead you in the right direction, or it'll help you either know that there is something that you need to take care of, or maybe not. But just trust your instinct. And this talks about the support, seek support from other caregivers. So caregivers can be some of the best resources, because they're going through it, or they've gone through what you're going through. So talk to them, use them as support. There's great strengths in knowing that you're not alone. As I felt like I was the only one. I was all alone when I was a caregiver for my parents. You may feel that you are all alone, but you're not. There's a lot of folks out there doing the same thing that you're doing, or they've done what you're doing. So reach out to them, seek some support, get someone to help you. and this is a huge one, when you're dealing with other family members, especially if you have siblings that oops, if you have siblings that want to know what's going on with their parent, you have to remember that is their parent. So you have to understand that when a parent is actually, or if a parent needs someone to care for them, or a caregiver, it's very emotional. It's a very emotional time for you and your siblings and other family members, because especially when a person used to be the head of the family and they pretty much manage and ran the whole family, and now they need someone to take care of them. So you have to understand that not only you're emotional, the family members are emotional too. Also, keep your siblings informed as much as possible, because they need to know. If they want to know what's going on, they have a right to know that. They have a right. It's their parent too. Keep them informed. Let them know what's going on with at the doctor's visits. Let them know if the parent is changing, if the parent is experiencing some other medical issues. Let them know. Let them know what's going on. And please don't play the blame game. Don't start saying that your siblings aren't doing what they're not helping, or they don't want to help. Don't do that, because that only causes more stress. And your whole goal is to take care of your parent. That's what your goal is, to make their quality of life as best as you can. It's not to say what your parents, what your brothers and sisters or siblings are not doing. That's not the place for that, because that only causes more stress. That's all that does. And be open and willing to accept help and suggestions. Sometimes people, especially siblings, they just want to feel like their opinion counts. Again, remember, it's their parent too. And as long as it's not costing you more money, or something that you can't afford, and if your siblings are willing to pay for whatever they're suggesting, let them do it. It's their parents as well. So be open to that. Listen to their suggestions, and if you can do what they're suggesting, go ahead and do that. It cuts down on conflicts in the family. It's already enough conflict in the family because you're the caregiver, and they're not, all the siblings are not oftentimes saying how the parent is being cared for. That sometimes can be a big concern to other siblings. And don't worry about siblings who are not helping. Don't worry about it. Again, all that does is cause more stress on you. And again, if they want to help, they'll help you. But ask them for help. Don't just say what they're not doing. Ask them. And if they don't want to do it, they won't do it. If they want to, they'll do it. I hope you received some useful information and tips to help you with your caregiving duties and to help your loved one. I'm Dr. Gybrilla Ballard-Blakes, and I thank you for watching.
Thank you so much for presenting.
You're welcome.
This was really enjoyable to listen to.
Thank you.
I don't see any questions or anything in the chat, so if you want to stick around for a couple minutes just in case.
Or you can send the email to me, maybe?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.